Hi, you're watching Sipping Off the Cuff with Tequila Aficionado Media, part of tequilaaficionado.com, or the other way around, and on YouTube. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That gentleman over there is one of our new TJs.
Hi, my name is Eric Zandona. I write for the blog EasyDrinking.com, and I am the Director of Spirits Information for the American Distilling Institute.
Woohoo! Check it out. We have a celebrity TJ with us. And Eric, I'm really jazzed about this brand that we're going to cover tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Alderete.
All right.
Now, this comes from one of our favorite distilleries for Tequila Aficionado and for some tequila fans, known 1414, which is Blanco and Asociados. Some of the greatest tequilas come out of here, and we were very fortunate, Eric, that we actually had Alderete on our Last Tequila Standing show that people can watch on our YouTube channel. They can actually select that. It's under a playlist called Last Tequila Standing, and you'll see, I think it's Ronnie Alderete and Jesse, and I believe that they're brothers. They are the brand owners of this tequila. My understanding is, I don't know if you know much about them, but these gentlemen grow asparagus, I think. They have...
that would make sense for where they're at in California.
Yeah. And this brand's been around for a while. It's really... Look at this. First of all, I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I want to nominate this right off the bat for Brand of Promise and tequila packaging, because...
the packaging, when I opened up the box, I was like, oh, this is fancy.
Well, that's their family crest, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
That's the family crest. I know that some of you who are watching this may have visited their ranch in Central California where they grow asparagus, and so it was almost a natural progression for them to get into the tequila business. And you can, and if I'm getting any of this wrong, because it's been a while since I've actually seen the clip, but you can watch the interview and you can watch the information that was given to us on Last Tequila Standing on YouTube. So this is the Blanco, and look, bubbles, man. I love bubbles. I love bubbles. So what glassware are you going to use tonight?
So today I'm using the standard Glencairn.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think I will join you on that. I think off camera, Eric and I were discussing glassware and
at home, when I'm doing my nosing for reviews and things like that, giving feedback to distillers, this is usually what I'm using. For just general drinking, I use like a small rocks glass, just because it's a little easier.
Well, you're like me. You got these big fingers, and typing for me is a real challenge,
Yeah.
But
for nosing and for tasting, and really thinking about what's going on in the spirit, Glencairn's a really great glass and easy to get. So.
Yeah, sometimes you can get these after the holidays in the bargain bin for dirt cheap. They're branded. Yeah. They'll say whatever whiskey or bourbon that they were in the package, but they're really excellent. Anybody who's been watching us already knows that we've been playing with glassware, and so it's interesting to see what Eric leans toward and what's his go-to glass. So I think I'll join you. We're gonna do some Blanco. Wow. The bubbles linger. Anybody that knows me will tell you I love bubbles. It's not a guarantee of quality, but it sure is a hell of a telltale sign. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. It's got great clarity. In the nose right away. As soon as I opened up the bottle before I poured, and I could just, the aroma just started to fill my taste. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh my
That's one of the
goodness.
That's really, I think, you notice right off the bat with this is the incredible nose.
There is no I don't get any alcohol at all. I mean, it's just, I know it's a little warmer here in Texas than it is up in San Francisco where you're at in the Bay
Yeah.
Area. So, our bottles arrived and they were warm. When I removed them out of the box, which they usually are when they get to us, and so I let it sit for a day. To be honest, I have not even had a chance to try this one. It's been a long time since I've had it, but it comes from such a reputable distillery that I kind of, it's like a lot of tequilas that come from La Cofradia, from the same place Casanova comes from.
Right.
They make so many different brands that after a while, that there's a significant stamp that belongs to the distillery, and there's a significant kind of quality that comes out of that distillery. If you don't know anything about Gnome 1414, they play Mozart classical music during the fermentation.
Yeah, that's what I read on their on the website for the brand, and also when I looked up information about the distillery, that the classical music was something they felt like made the yeast happier when they were digesting the sugars and converting it into alcohol, which I thought was I've heard of people playing music for their barrels, and to I don't know, stimulate the maturation and to make the angels happy as they take their share. But I think this was the first time I'd heard of somebody playing music for their fermenters, which I thought was, they have an incredible reputation, so something must be working.
Yeah, at first sniff, you're just, it's really interesting because I know just recently I had heard of an agave grower who says, not only do I play Mozart during the fermentation, I sing to my agave when I'm out in the fields. Yeah. So, when stuff like that happens, there's a reason they call it spirits, Eric. That's all I can tell you,
Right.
Wow. This is, according to the website and the information that we see, these are, of course, hand-selected Highland agaves. I know that the distillery is located in Arandas. And every place in the Highlands, I'm not sure if you've ever been out to the Highlands or to Tequila.
Not yet.
But every area has its own different microclimate, and so the Highlands are known for their, for their flavor profile and I guess the size of their agaves as well. So. Wow. What do we?
Yeah. So for me, the thing that just kind of leaps out is you get this really nice, like green agave note that you find in high quality blancos. That's I would say really pleasant. It's not grassy or like sort of like cut, lawn or anything like that. But it's this very particular.
It's fruity, isn't it?
It's like layered fruit and something green. That's how I usually describe it.
Having been to this distillery once, I know that they're surrounded by citrus trees. I would say oranges and limes and lemons, and so the fermentation is open air. If I'm not mistaken, I know that we're in the middle of having the master distiller, the ingeniero, who developed what I call the Mozart method. We're in the middle of him answering some questions where so that we can get a definitive answer. And I've been at him for like a year because I've met both he and his partner. I've met them before with Don Pilar, for instance. They also guide Don Pilar. They still work with Cazadores, even though Bacardi now has bought the brand. Cazadores is one of the other ones. I believe anything that comes out of Gnome 1414 is produced this way. And it wasn't until I talked to the general manager, the guy in charge of the plant, who's one of Vivanco's sons, and he said, I'm a very practical guy. He said, I never would have believed it if we hadn't done the numbers. When we play the Mozart, we manufacture more. When we don't, we get less. He says, "That's my bottom line,"
Yeah.
and it makes sense to me. If it's all in all practicality, I would say keep playing it.
Right. Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Exactly.
I'm ready to dive in, man, because this is just gorgeous stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That retronasal's beautiful, man.
Yeah. So it's warm in the mouth, but there's incredible flavor there. It's not harsh in any way. It's just a really pleasant, warming. But you get this great layers of like sweetness, like fruitiness, and earth, and a little bit of something else. I can't quite put my finger on. There's a slight tinge of, no, this isn't in a bad way, but like something slightly bitter that kind of balances the sweet and the earth. It's just got a really nice, sort of like more like a citrus peel, that kind of like.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a zest maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll buy that. And it's got a great finish too, man. It's got that nice warm fuzzy on the way down. It's just
Yeah.
it really is the perfection that you're expecting from this distillery. Eric, I don't know how many you've had from this distillery from 1414. If you had Siembra Azul, for instance, Grandovejo, which is one that I've had years ago. Probably it's been over 5-6 years since I've had Alderete and Grandovejo, but if I were to go on record and say the quality has not suffered one bit. This is beautiful. Now, are you a big cocktail guy?
Mostly I drink spirits neat. Though I do make a small number of cocktails at home, and in preparation for this, I actually made a couple of their suggested cocktails. So I made a margarita, and then what do they call it? Paloma.
Paloma.
Yeah.
How did they go?
Well, so this was the interesting thing is neat, and or even with like a little bit of ice if you wanted it a little cooler, like it's beautiful. The Blanco didn't seem to work as well as the Reposado in the margarita and the in particular, and it was very odd because the flavors of the other components, the lime and like with the Paloma with the soda, they didn't seem to balance with the Blanco, which was odd. And so it was like you got a little bit of flavor of the agave, you got a little bit of flavor of the lime, and you got a little bit of flavor of the soda, but it wasn't like it didn't become one thing. It was
right.
They stayed in their own separate camps. So it was a little bit of an odd drink. And but then later when I tried a margarita with the Reposado, like it became amazing. So it was interesting. For me, this is definitely like a tequila Blanco that I would want to drink neat. This is something. There's a ton of flavor. There's great nose that you don't want to bury with a lot of stuff, and so it's really nice. The one caveat I would say, like with my margarita that I made, I didn't have any Cointreau, so I just used Grand Marnier because that was all I had in terms of like an orange liqueur. So and I will admit I'm not the best cocktail maker, so it may not be tequila. It might be user error.
There you go.
So I want to be clear with that. However, doing the same ratios with the Blanco versus the Reposado, in the margarita, the reposado margarita like was really good comparatively. So I don't know.
So
But
the control margarita, we just got to toss it out the window and say forget
yeah,
it.
yeah. So,
But
but
I agree that
yeah,
this is a great sipper.
yeah,
I think it's not, the profile is not so in your face, and so it's much more subtle, as you
yeah,
said. So
yeah,
and I can't wait to get to the reposado to see how that turns out. But
yeah.
yeah, I think I agree with you. I think this is a great sipper on its own.
Yeah. Plus, there's a lot of like really like deep kind of earthiness to
Uh-huh.
it that I get out of this, and and so in general, I don't know if that like I find sometimes with blancos that have this like already like a pronounced like sort of citrus and lime kind of notes that come through.
Hmm.
Like you mix that in into a margarita, and it just sings. And because there's a sort of like natural synergy there with the flavors that are present in the tequila. Whereas this, I don't know, to me it kind of muted some of the citrus, and um, but again, it's got an incredible nose. It's it's got a great body. It's super viscous
Yes.
and coats your mouth,
Yeah.
which is really nice. It's not hot. It's not astringent,
You can see
but
the nice legs and tears on it.
yeah,
It just really
exactly.
crowns your glass.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. So, what do you think? Brand of Promise nominee in the Blanco category?
Well, that's a good question. You'll have to let me know. What you. So what are the things that you're sort of looking for when you're talking about brands of promise?
Exactly. That's exactly what we're looking for. Is your opinion? Whether it be something that's worth a try that our viewers could take a look at, and maybe they've already seen it, and they're getting confirmation out of what you're drawing out of it anyway.
Yeah,
You and I have been around the block a few times, so we've had a few of these under our belts, and we
yeah,
kind of know how what. Like I say, I know what to expect from this distillery. So I'm going to go on record and say I think it's a worthy brand of promise in the
hmm,
Blanco category. There was
yeah,
nothing off, nothing wrong with it. Um, I think it lives up to the quality of the distillery, and I can't wait to get to the Reposado and the Añejo to see
yeah,
how the natural progression goes.
yeah.
So, you know,
So yeah, so I would say, in my opinion, I think now you have to help me with the pronunciation of the brand name again.
Alderete.
Alderete. So I think this Blanco is really nice. It's really beautiful. Flavor, body, palate. My only uh, my only kind of critique is its price point compared to the other spirits that you can get from the same distillery.
What's the price point?
So the suggested price point for this Blanco is $55 for 750.
Wow.
And when I looked around, and again, I live in San Francisco, so I know prices vary from state to state, and different liquor stores even.
Hmm.
But when I looked around, in general, other Blancos from the same distillery were around $10 less at least.
Well, I don't know
So,
what I don't know what we can attribute that to. That's one thing we don't have any control over, but
one thing I can say though is this bottle and closure
yeah.
are not cheap.
No, they're not, and it's a
So
substantial bottle too. It's
it
heavy.
is. It's got a good weight to it, and it's got this like raised agave on the back. So like the closure and packaging do point to the higher price point.
Right.
Whereas I would say that the other blancos that are coming out of the same distillery are using a little bit more plain packaging,
Hmm.
and so their price point does match their packaging and their bottle and their sort of the marketing and the ultra premium sort of category. So I don't think it's. Uh, I'm 100% on board with the juice.
Okay,
Uh,
good.
the I think the way that's my only thing. I'm not sure
Okay.
if tequila aficionados who kind of understand where it's coming from versus other brands would say like, oh, I'm going to go for that one instead of the other. I don't know. So that's my only like caveat. I think
Okay.
it's fantastic tequila
Terrific.
nonetheless.
In that
And if
case,
you're at a bar and they have it and you want something really good, go for it.
yeah, I agree. I totally agree that. So I'll make sure that we don't put it in the value category.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
a value tequila, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
This is one that looks really good on your bar, and one that you want
yeah.
to sip sparingly because it's going to cost you a few bucks. But that's our take on Alderete Blanco. Stay tuned with
Hmm.
us. We'll be back shortly with the Reposado and the Añejo in that category. But in the meantime, I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That gentleman
I'm,
there,
I'm Eric Zandona in San Francisco.
you've been watching Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, tequilaaficionado.com, and our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that red button down there. And as we like to say here, tomar sabiamente.